Hello, and welcome to Soda Review Channel, where today we'll be taking a look at Fanta Zero Sugar Orange. Let's get right into it. December 7th, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. Those words were said by then U.S. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt about the attack by the Imperial Japanese Navy's First Air Fleet on the military base of Pearl Harbor on the island of Oahu in Hawaii. This attack led to the United States declaring war on Japan and the Empire of Japan, which then led to a cascade of legal actions that ended up with the US in a war alongside the United Kingdom and the Allied powers against the Empire of Japan and the Nazi Third Reich in Europe. Now, before this war, the Coca-Cola Company did in fact have a local distributor within the Third Reich before trade sanctions were put in place and embargoes were put in place on the horrible nation. So, after some time, the local Coca-Cola partner, not able to get the classic Coca-Cola ingredients to make the signature product, realized that they needed to make something new, something authentically German. So they dug a bunch of crap out of the trash and bottled it and sold it to the Nazis, because the Nazis, fun fact, don't know good taste and will eat literal garbage stew made of the scraps of apples pressed into juice, the scrapings of cheese, and sugar beets. That is what Fanta Classic was under the Nazi Empire. That is what the Nazis want you to drink. Spit in their face. After the war, the Coca-Cola Company came back in, took over their local distributor, and recontinued their classic beverage and discontinued the garbage stew that they were bottling and selling to the Germans. A few years later, a small local Italian soda bottler using local oranges made their own soda under the same name, Fanta. In 1960, the Coca-Cola Company bought out that recipe and that branding, and they started distributing Fanta in many regions of the world, mostly in third world countries like South America. I know South America is not a country, but the countries of South America, especially in Latin America as well. In the early 2000s, right about 2001, there was a push to popularize it in the United States as well. And well, the rest is history. This became their de facto orange soda, as opposed to Minute Maid, which became more of an orange juice. Fruit juice, rather. Now, there are many flavors of Fanta the world over. You've got orange Fanta, you've got pineapple Fanta, you've got grape Fanta, all the classics. You've got dragon fruit, you've got green apple, you have lychee, you have pineapple and grapefruit. There are so many flavors of Fanta out there. I once tasted a Chinese Fanta that tasted like plum barbecue sauce. It was delicious. Now, to get into Fanta itself, or rather this drink, Fanta Zero Sugar, I have no idea the specific history of this. Normally, I like to look up, figure out the lineage of a drink we have, such as my wonderful dissertation on the history of Diet Coke and how it's just Tab, and Tab is delicious. But I don't know the history of the Zero Sugar Fanta. There is at least no English language sources on this that are well documented. I read a wiki article claiming that this was created in 2024 and no Zero Sugar Fanta existed before then. That is not correct. We found some advertisements for a diet Fanta sweetened with NutraSweet that we think was from the United States in the early 1990s. Certainly, it was an English language commercial, but we are not sure of exactly where it aired or where that drink was sold. We just found a YouTube clip of it from the late 2000s. That is to say, I can tell you a lot about the creation of Fanta itself. I can tell you nothing about Fanta Zero Sugar. If you have any information about this, especially with sources from outside the Anglosphere, I would greatly appreciate it. Please leave a comment down below and give me any information or any leads you can give me, because I want to know more. Now, in the United States, Fanta is quite famous for, specifically in this country, and as far as I know, this country alone, having no juice. There is no orange juice in this. It also has a weird, nuclear looking, semi clear coloring, whereas in other countries they use more natural dyes to look a little bit more like juice. And I kind of prefer that. My co host has gone on record saying she likes this weird atomic color a little better, and I respect that. This does look to me like an orange soda. It just, I just prefer the way that the international varieties look. Alright, let's just get into this. It smells so orangey. Like the flavor of oranges, not like you just squeezed an orange on the ground. Let's see what this is sweetened with, shall we? Aspartame, of course. Ace K. Yeah, that's all it is. That's all the sweetener in here. Good. Classic combination. Now, as I said before, this doesn't smell like an orange or any kind of orange juice. It tastes like orange flavor. And I like that. I think that's pretty good. I've always loved Fanta. Like I said, it got a big marketing push in the US in the early 2000s. That's when I was a child. So I have a lot of nostalgia for it. Perfect amount of fizz. I always have to hand it to the Coca-Cola company. It has a perfect amount of fizz. Small fun fact. At least previously, the Coca-Cola company had an apple-flavored Fanta in the United States, sold only around the Coca-Cola headquarters in Atlanta. Not specifically in Atlanta, but the region of the United States, state of Georgia, around Atlanta. That was a very good flavor. I quite liked it. I was here for a conference in that era when they were selling that, and I got out of a drink machine. It was delightful. But this one, very synthetically orange. Tastes like an orange candy. So it's reminiscent of the actual fruit, especially since the second ingredient listed here is citric acid. I find it tasty. This is a good drink. During the Second World War, the Dutch Coca-Cola distributor also created their own version of Fanta. It was primarily flavored with elderberries. I think that's better than the cheese scrapings that the Nazis had. I mean, I guess the Dutch were also Nazis at that point, but I just hate Nazis. I'm sorry, I can't stop talking about that, but I have to. This flavor is very orangey. It smells like fake oranges. In about 2015, for the brand's, I think, 70th anniversary, 75th probably, because it probably launched in about 1940, Coca-Cola Germany did a run of Fanta Classic, and they remade the garbage juice. They got very criticized for it for very good reason, mostly for the association with the Nazis. I don't know if that one had cheese scrapings in it. Don't call me on that. I know it still had the apple skins. As I'm getting to the bottom of this, the very synthetic nature of the flavorings actually kind of starting to get to me. I don't know if it's just the combination of the orange flavor and the artificial sweeteners, but I'm starting to get a little tired of it. Certainly, I'm going to finish this bottle. No one's going to stop me from finishing the bottle on this one. But I don't know how soon I'll get another one. Excuse me. Now, ultimately, I can definitely say it'll be a while before I have another. So, ultimately, the rating I'll give it is better than garbage juice. Also, the Nazis, but it's okay.